Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our services, if we can please kindly turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out to celebrate the life of David Cohen and to support those who are mourning his loss. My name is Cantor Lauren Goodlove, and while I am a cantor across the river on the other side of Philly, I also had the pleasure to grow up about 5 houses away from the Cohens. So I am truly humbled to be here today to honor David's life and support his family. David was a builder in every sense of the word. Of course, he built homes, and he did it with a passion that went far beyond a profession. But he also built poems with a keen twist of words for which, as Robin would say, he only charged love. He built solutions that could only be found, as Amanda said, beyond the box. And he helped build this family and community of friends, all because of his fantastic attitude and genuine connection to each person. Everything David built, he built with love, the ideal foundation for any construction project. And so we continue by singing the song with which we began, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, which sings of a world each of us will build with love. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, 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 Olam Chesed Yibaneh, Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. I will build this world from love. Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. And you will build this world from love. Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. And if we build this world from love, Yadadai, 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 then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, Yadadai, Yadadai. This loving family and many others gathered here will certainly find various things in the changing seasons and times ahead that will remind them of David. And so as I read the following poem at the end of each refrain, I ask you to respond with "We remember him." In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember him. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live, for he is now a part of us as we remember him. I continue now with the singing of Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd," Adonai Rovi. join me in the English words of Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I'd like to share a few words about David before those who really knew him quite well tell a bit more of the legacy that he leaves behind. Robin and David were high school sweethearts who, in fact, met at the JCC daycare when they were even younger. So we can rewind all the way back to David's childhood here in the Philadelphia area. Though the details of the JCC may be a bit blurry, Robin recalls re-meeting David at a wild party in high school where they were connected because they both felt a little uncomfortable with some of the activities happening there. David was the youngest of 5 siblings, 5 kids, always eager to help his mother. So much so that he was so often referred to by her as David, God bless him. You might think that was his last name. Throughout high school, David and Robin's relationship blossomed, and he would often sleep over at Robin's house in the basement on a black and white couch, and really became part of Robin's family. He knew where everything was in Robin's family fridge, and her parents quickly embraced him as their own son. After graduating Central High School, David went to Penn State, and Robin went to Temple. They were technically dating other people during college, but it was no secret that whenever David called to say he was coming home, Robin would change her plans so she could see him. As they say, my heart belongs to Davy. As has already been mentioned, David loved to build. He started off at Sylvan Building, scraping nails off the floor, and eventually made his way to Darwin Capital Management Group, which grew into a flourishing family business. Building was not just a job, it was his passion. David loved getting to know families as they dreamed, and he designed their custom homes. Through his work with them, these people quickly moved from just clients to true friends. And for those of you who knew David not through work and were already his friends, I bet if you were ever thinking of purchasing a home, David was quick to offer advice, to guide you in the right direction, telling you what's important, and giving it to you straight. David loved experimenting, trying new concepts in home design, as evidenced by his idea houses, idea homes. David was innovative in making homes green before that concept ever even became in vogue. David's brain was magnificently balanced on the left and the right. So much of what he did blended math and science with art. He enjoyed writing poetry for birthdays, anniversaries, b'nai mitzvah, or just for love. David did calligraphy, created costumes, decorated houses for Halloween. He had a sixth sense about him with regard to time. Even though he never wore a watch, he always knew what the correct time was within just a few minutes. And while he didn't wear watches, he loved collecting clocks, especially beautiful antique ones. Perhaps this further illustrates his interest in blending science and art. David was an Energizer bunny. He'd wake up at 6 a.m. to go to work, and upon returning home would be sure to make time for his children, Adam and Amanda, either to play or help them with homework. After all that, he would go out to play racquetball, only to start the cycle all over again. Some favorite family vacations include Atlantic City and California. Nothing luxurious, but lots of fun. And of course, filled with some fun adventures in elevators or along the beach. After his accident 18 years ago, though he could no longer use his body the way he wanted, his mind remained incredibly sharp. He became quite skilled at giving directions to Robin so she could help Adam and Amanda with her favorite projects, dioramas. And even up until just a week ago, David engaged with his game group in trivia night brilliantly, yet modestly, knowing all the answers. In addition to his great IQ, he also had an exceptional EQ, emotional intelligence. And if there was something he didn't know, he would just fake it till you make it and learn it on the job. David never fell into the rut of why me. If you asked him how he was doing, his response was always, fantastic. He was a Philadelphia Eagles fan through and lived long enough to proudly say that he could check something off of his bucket list watching the Eagles win the Super Bowl. He shared his love of football and business with Adam and his love of poetry and all things creative with Amanda. He had a wicked sense of humor, from one-liners to corny dad puns. And most importantly, David was an eternal optimist, always believing that things work out for the best. And so now I invite up Adam to share some additional words.
Let's see how far I get through this. I want to start the speech with an apology. I know that for a fact my dad would have wanted a party for his funeral. I know he'd also probably enjoy a speech littered with jokes and a celebration of his life. And I'm sorry, but it's very hard to find those emotions on a day where I need to say goodbye to such a wonderful person and someone who's so special to me. Most children who have a caring father see their dad through rose-colored lenses. And apparently with my dad, all of our family and friends must have been wearing the same glasses. I can say without any reservation that my dad is, and now was, a very special person. You really couldn't find anyone a bad thing to say about him. And that's not because he was always trying to please everyone. It's because he always tried to take the positive out of any situation. And because he tried to get others to as well. And because even after his paralysis, he took more optimism out of life than someone in his position is entitled to. My relationship with my dad changed as I grew up, and as I imagine it does for most people. However, his biking accident happened at a time when I still viewed my dad as completely infallible and capable of doing anything. In the snap of a finger, my father, who in my eyes could do everything, instantly was incapable of doing anything without asking for help. Everything he could do for himself became a process of learning from scratch. I'd like to think that I could make this transition as gracefully as he did. The humility it must have taken. Imagine if tomorrow you couldn't dress yourself, couldn't go to the bathroom by yourself, couldn't even pick something up that dropped on the floor. This for a man who prided himself in an ability to solve problems and was the go-to person for the solutions that others couldn't find. The last 18 years with my dad have been very unique. Ever since the accident, I really viewed the time we've had together as borrowed. I've been excruciatingly aware of how tenuous his health was. And in the spirit of his view on life, I'd like to take the positive out of those years. And I'd like to talk about them specifically because everyone knows what an amazing person that was before the accident. However, there's no better way to define his character, his resolve, and his love better than the years he lived after it. post-accident, my dad had the opportunity to see me and Amanda go off to college and graduate. He was able to see me go off to graduate school, even if he probably thought it was a waste of money. He was able to see me get married. He was able to meet his grandkids, who affectionately called him Pops. I think he chose that name because even though at times he couldn't talk with the ventilator, he would pop his lips to their delight. We had a chance to watch the Eagles win the Super Bowl together. He was able to see the business that we started to grow beyond anything that I could have imagined. Although knowing him, he probably would have expected it. Dad's passing is extremely sad, and the world is absolutely worse for it. But I've had 18 years to come to terms with the fact that this day would come. And we've had countless scares in the last few years which predicted that this day was coming near. I can confidently say that I haven't left any words unsaid. Dad knew how much I loved him and how much I respected him. I'm sure that he didn't get to accomplish everything that he wanted to in his lifetime, but no one could say he didn't live a full life. And on that note, I'd like to end my speech on one final anecdote. Nothing that was, particularly special, but it was something that I think about. In the early years, Dad was quite determined. In the early years after the accident, Dad was quite determined to do a lot of things that he'd done beforehand. And two of these things were flying and going to the National Builder Show. As you can imagine, traveling with Dad created quite a few complications, but we ultimately did make it onto the plane. About an hour in, the intercom went on to tell us that there was an engine issue, and that we needed to make an emergency landing in Virginia Beach. By the time we got off the plane, it was really late, and there was no way to transport Dad to a hotel, so we ended up sleeping in the crew lounge at the airport, with Dad lying on the dirty, stained green sofa, so he could get weight shifted off of his chair. I think I slept on the floor next to him. Several hours later, the crew came to wake us and inform us that they'd almost forgotten us. That the whole plane was boarded. And that they were waiting on us. And as much of a scramble as a quadriplegic combustor in a turtle, we finally re-entered the plane and moseyed our way up to first class with a very sarcastic round of applause in the back row. I'd like to think the highlight of the trip for Dad was that he only paid for coach. We did in fact take off and make it to Orlando, where Dad was able to enjoy the Builder Show, and probably only took out a booth or two in a misfire in his wheelchair. It wasn't always pretty, and it rarely went smoothly, but it's stories like these that I'm always going to treasure. The extra years I had with Dad to grow our relationship, to allow Dad to see me grow into the person that I am today, and to see my family grow into the family that I have today is truly a gift. This is hard, and it's going to be hard for a long time. But today it's so wonderful to be standing in front of a group of people who all understand how special my father was. I'm going to miss him very much. Thank you.
My dad was always larger than life. He didn't just think outside of the box, he thought far and beyond it. The way he thought about and saw the world was on a different plane of existence. He was a true Renaissance man and was talented in so many ways. He never failed to find a silver lining, and whether with his awful dad jokes or clever wit, he was always trying to make you laugh and make your life better. While my brother inherited more of his left brain talent, such as his business sense, I got his creative side. I loved to help him set the table and arrange platters for holidays and parties. When I had a poster or other projects to do for school, I could always count on him to help me. For example, my mom hated the D word, diorama, which is a model representing a scene with three-dimensional figures, either in miniature form or as a large-scale museum exhibit. He loved it. He had a keen eye for that sort of thing, and he always knew where to place things so they would visually look the best. He also knew little tricks to make those projects easier to complete, but still fit within the guidelines. Dad never crossed the line, but he sure knew how to tiptoe on it. One time, I had to create a Thanksgiving restaurant menu for the colonial era as part of a history project. While my classmates were making a mess of their kitchens, running wet tea bags over white paper to age it, my dad informed me that we could just buy parchment-looking paper at the office supply store. He also gave me a calligraphy book and a pen so I could make the writing look historically accurate and fancy. He was never too busy or too tired to spend time with me and to lend a creative hand to help me make something I needed. As part of an elementary school talent show, I was doing a dance with two friends to Genie in a Bottle by Christina Aguilera. Because he wanted to start the dance number, Rising Out of Bottles, I asked if my dad could create them for me. Not only did he agree to do it, but he made the bottles to my exact specifications, and we put on an amazing performance. He was the poet laureate of the family, and whatever the special occasion was, you could count on him to write a funny and heartwarming poem to commemorate your special moment. Sometimes, as a breakfast treat, he would make us crepes and let me smother them in melted chocolate. Good times. I have many memories of wonderful family vacations where we built sandcastles together at the beach. We had so many insightful conversations about life and how you need to find your passion in life and take every opportunity to learn and experience new things. When I think of my dad, I think of a man who was warm, optimistic, and just brought light to your life. I know the true testament to the fantastic man he was lies in all the wonderful friends and family he surrounded himself with. I know that all of our lives have been enriched just by knowing him. I want to leave you with one of his favorite affirmations. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Now invite up his brother-in-law, Ronnie.
He gave me that affirmation too. It came from a book that he gave me. I stand before you saying the words I never wanted to say, giving a speech I never wanted to give, and feeling a loss I never wanted to feel. David Cohen is born. David epitomized for me the saying, brother from another mother. Although he was my brother-in-law, he felt very much like my blood brother. It's still so hard to believe he's gone. I still find myself wondering if David feels up to having Isaac bring him here today in the van, and whether he was able to write one of his remarkable and memorable poems. David was always there. I remember the first time I met him, he was coming to our house to pick up Robin for a date, and he drove down the street in front of our house in this mile-long Oldsmobile 98, completely passing an open parking space and driving down to the end of the block. Finally walked back up, came to the door, David Cohen here, and my mother said, well, why didn't you, he said, David, there's a space right out front, why didn't you park there? And he said, well, I've only recently learned to drive, and I have not yet learned to parallel park. Which my mother went, Norman. Thereafter, as a teenager, he would always be at our dinner table, like a natural-born member of the family, especially when my mother made fruit cups. Among his many talents, David had a innate clairvoyance about whenever my mother was about to serve a meal. As soon as she yelled dinner time, David was at the front door, David Cohen here. I could never figure out how he knew. Even at the end, when we knew we were fighting against the odds, we all still had so much hope that David would pull through and suddenly open his eyes, cheating death, yet once more as he had done so many times before.
And for the last few days, I find myself once again infuriating, trying to make sense of why this happened to him. It makes me want to shake my fist at the heavens. It is safe to say my belief in God was shattered the day he had his accident. Prior to the accident, David had accomplished so much in so little time on both a personal and professional level, but unfortunately the fates did not permit us to see the heights to which his unique talents would have taken him. But David never complained. No matter how much pain and discomfort he was in, whenever I would ask him how he was doing, he would invariably proclaim, fantastic or outstanding. He never became bitter or hardened, never surrendered to pity or regret. No one would have blamed him if he had, but that was not David Cohen. He never gave in, and he never lost his sense of humor. These, incidentally, are the same qualities that apply to Robin, who took every step of their 50-odd-year journey together, epitomizing the vow to love and to cherish in good times and in bad, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. David was a great man, and great men change those around them. And David did so from a height that most of us could never dream of reaching. And it isn't until a time like this that we realize how much of a gift he has given and taught us. For starters, he taught us about taking risks. They say that those who cheat death are living life to the fullest. And by that standard, David lived a very full life. He loved and embraced the challenges he faced with a fearless heart and an optimistic attitude. At the beginning of his real estate career, young David would take whatever meager savings he and Robin had managed to accumulate and risk it all by signing an agreement of sale to purchase a property where he had no possibility of raising the money to complete the purchase. He would then furiously search to find another buyer before settlement to whom he could flip the property at a nice profit. And he never failed. Come to think of it, this may not be one of the lessons we should seek to emulate. As that collective experience caused Robin's hair to turn gray prematurely. Perhaps a better lesson is that life is short. I realize that now more than ever. So many times we put our life on hold, fearing that the time is not right. But watching somebody you love endure so much pain and discomfort to merely survive, indeed to merely breathe, should serve as a wake-up call to how we perceive life. It should make you think twice about complaining about petty things. The sooner you realize that life can change in a blink of an eye, the sooner you can learn to live and enjoy the moment, and to live your life with purpose and love while enjoying the journey. Yes, David was a great man. He never let anyone down. He was always there when you needed him. His word was his bond, and everyone knew it. He was self-made and self-reliant. He engaged with the world as a man who was its master. The number of people who loved and called David and Robin their best friend was legion. David never made an enemy, not one. He steadfastly maintained ties with childhood and long-lasting friends, such as Richard and Barbara, Arlene and Mark, Mel and Joyce, Mitch Wilf, and countless others. I never heard him utter an ethnic slur or treat anyone of any station with less than kindness or respect. I truly believe David was a genius. Everyone would seek his advice. No one would think of buying a house, hiring a contractor, making an appliance purchase, making a home repair, or making a home improvement without first seeking David's advice and approval. When I bought my first house, he was there to fix it up. When my parents bought a house with an outdated kitchen, he built them a beautiful new kitchen with his bare hands. I remember one time in the house I was having a problem with water in the basement, and I called a popular advertiser at that point, I think it was Dr. Dessertron, man with the golden voice. And they came in and they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put in a sump pump to drain the water. All you have to do is sign this installment contract, which requires you to pay, for the rest of your life. And I said, well, I'm more interested in finding out where the water is coming from and why it's entering the house rather than have it fill up my basement and then have to drain it. Oh, no, so we don't do that, just sign this contract. So I dismissed them, and I did what I would always do in those circumstances. I called David. David said, I'll tell you what you do. The next time it's pouring rain, you go outside with an umbrella, holding it up like Ben Franklin with a kite, and you watch the water. Get to know the water. Find where the water flows. Find where it goes. Find its path. Be the water. And I went out the next time and did what he said, and I followed the water, and I saw that it was entering the house. There was a small crack in the cement in the patio. So we called our gardener to put a patch on it, and $50 later, I never had a problem with water. David would say, too many people, when they reach an obstruction or what they deem to be an insurmountable obstacle, they give up. He said, I always find that a challenge and don't rest until, while stroking my chin, I find a way around it. And that is the key to success, in addition to the acronym. I love David, and I am proud that he called me bro. He touched so many lives with his intelligence, kindness, caring, loving, helpful, and calm manner. His family will understand when I say the CEO of Haldanian had it exactly correct. David was the man. He was a great man, a great husband, a great father, a great brother, and a great friend. And while it's natural for all of us to feel sad and aggrieved that David is no longer with us, it may be well for us to be happy he lived, and that we are blessed to have had the privilege to share part of his remarkable life with us. Farewell, bro. You will live on in our hearts and minds forever.
Now call up his siblings, Danny, Sylvan, Jones.
When I was 16 years old, my mother came to me and said, okay, it's time to have the baby. I don't even think I realized she was pregnant. But okay, so be it. Anyway, Dave was born. The apple of our eye. We hadn't had a baby in the family for a long time, number one. Number two, it was kind of like, how could this woman at 45 years old have a child? It was not, people didn't have babies at that age, but she did. And also, my father had multiple sclerosis. And we thought, how's a man who has multiple sclerosis and not well produce a child? Well, he did. And there he was, our special little baby. And he was our special little baby because we all worshiped him. We took care of him. I think I took most care of him because my brothers were busy doing their thing and my mother was busy raising a family and my father was not well. So I guess I took care of him. I don't remember a lot of it, but it must have been me because there was nobody else to take care of him. And I loved every minute of it. And he grew to be the most beautiful human being alive. I don't think my brothers would object to me saying that. They're not jealous. They know that Dad was the best. And they'll tell you that. And he grew to be a beautiful man, as we all well know. But what I want to say the most, and by the way, my mother did say that, God bless him, David. That's the way she always talked about David. God bless him. We didn't care, we knew it, that was it. Anyway, what I want to say is to Robin. I want to tell Robin what a beautiful human being she is. What she meant to us because she took care of him. She loved him and she took care of him. She did everything for him. She was his left arm and his right arm and his heart and his legs and everything. And we all knew it, and we were grateful that she was there to do that for him. She's a very strong, beautiful woman, and thanks to Anita and Norman, you raised a beautiful daughter because the best. She's the best. And we love him, and we miss him. And I wish I could be, I used to come to the house, and I would kiss him on the head and say, I love you. And I wish I could do that now. I look at that, and I say, oh, I wish I could kiss you, but I can't. I love you for what you did for my brother. And
I have nothing to say after that. I do want to say one thing before I even begin. Isaac, stand up a second. Does everybody know Isaac? Oh, yeah. Without Isaac, would we all have had him this long? Dave, of course, Robin was there all the time, but we just wanted to give you something. I wanted to give you something special, attention to you because of what you have done to keep him with us all these years. And thank you very much for that. Thank you, Isaac. We all appreciate what you did. The love you gave. Thank you so much. When I was 12 years old, I found out that I was having another baby brother. I didn't know that time that this one would be the smartest, funniest, and most handsome of us all. He always felt fantastic, right? He was an inspiration to everyone who knew him and taught us how valuable living was. Thank you, dear brother, for all the lessons you taught us all. We will never forget them. And thank you, Robin, again, for keeping my brother so close to us and always keeping in touch with us, keeping us to his heart.
And I was asked to go to register, to keep it limited by the script, so I'm going to be the only one of the Cohens to do that. My brother made me feel I was special. I'm going to put on my glasses to be sure I say this the way I wrote it. My brother made me feel I was special. That is what he did for me and for you. He knew himself so well. We searched for courage. He lived. I joked. He laughed. My brother loved his life. He said to me when asked, I am not handicapped. I don't see me that way. Thoughtful, meticulous, full of love. The spirit which inhabited his body played with life so very well. I will miss him forever.
smile. He makes you feel good. These people stood up here today and they told you all the things you knew about him. Because we all knew inside here that you don't find better people anywhere. I know I have. I've gone through this life many years. I haven't been looking for them, but I can tell you as I come back and think about all the people who I knew in my life, no one outshines David Cohen. And the words that people used here today to speak, starting with the good cantor, and starting with each of the people that got up here to speak, and to give you some of their experiences of how they lived life with David Cohen, said everything that they could say about him, and there's not much more to say. He was clearly the best. We will clearly remember him with a smile on our lips always, and we will always speak of him well. My father taught me, he said to me, I don't remember my father telling me a lot of things very specifically, but what he said was, of what can I be proud of if I am not proud of my friends? And I want to tell you, I sat here as people came by this today and wishing us well and telling us how they felt about David. My brother Joe over here that gave a nice little speech kept turning to me and said, I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. I cannot believe that I am seeing all of these people and all of these friends and all of this love pass by us. I cannot believe it, that this is what I'm seeing. But we who know David, we can believe it. We can believe that all of you people gathered together, and he helped make your life as you helped make his. And for that, we all thank you. Robin, you did it, babe. You did it. You did it. You did it from the beginning to the end. You did it. You were there. You comforted him. You took care of him. You were his always, always, always. You did it. Congratulations, Mom. Congratulations. You're a good woman. And we all thank you. And we all thank you all for being here.
In just a moment, I'll ask you to rise if you are able for El Male Rachamim, which prays in just a moment. Which prays for David to be comforted in God's embrace. After the ceremony here, we will proceed to the interment at Locustwood, after which people are invited back to comfort the bereaved at David and Robin's home in Voorhees. There will be a minyan tonight at 7, and Shiva will continue tomorrow, starting at 6, with the minyan again at 7 o'clock. I ask you if you are able to please rise.
Rachamim, Shochet Bamrom You have to call Darren, please.
Is it up? Yeah. You're good. Just try to heel. Your heels are on. Right? Yeah, that's good. Just by the edge. Yeah.
That's the cause once more, please.